Hi, second graders. Miss Thomas here. So, our new essential question for this week is this: how can we understand nature? Well, we have talked about nature a little bit here and there is so much to understand and so much to learn about nature. But that's a question that we're just going to plop up in our brains, and we're going to try to answer it in as many different ways as we can throughout this week. So, again, how can we understand nature? Okay, so our I can statement is talking today, or this week, is talking about central message. So, what is another way that we can describe what central message is? We talked a little bit about central message earlier in the year, but central message is another way of saying lesson. So if a story teaches us a lesson of some sort, or if there's a moral to it, like we talked about like the three little pigs, right? So the three little pigs, one pig builds their house out of straw, and we learn that, oh, it falls down so easy, so quick. So then the other one, the pig number two, builds their house out of sticks. A little bit stronger, but still not tough enough. It still crashes down when that big bad wolf comes over. But the third little pig, what does he do? He builds his house out of brick, out of hard stone, and it's sturdy and solid. And when the big bad wolf comes over and he huffs and he puffs, that house does not even sway. It is sturdy and solid. So that story teaches us a lesson. It teaches us first to do things the right way the first time so we don't have to redo it later on. But it also is just think through your projects and make sure that you do it well and you do it the right way. Okay, so that's a lesson or a moral or the central message of the story. So today we are going to read a folk tale. Okay, so similar type of a story, a folk tale, and we're going to read it in the form of a drama. Have you ever seen a play or been to a play where you watch performers up on the stage and they tell a story with their bodies, sometimes with music, and they teach us something or tell a story that way? If we were in class, I'd pick some of you and you could read the parts of this play and we could pretend that we're putting on a play. So we can just pretend and pick characters in our head today if you'd like. And we'll just pretend we're either the sun, the moon, or water. Okay? So again, the essential question is about nature. So how can we understand nature a little bit? And this folk tale that we're reading is from Africa, and it's a folk tale that's been passed down through the generations, and it teaches us something. So we're going to be looking for that central message, for that lesson, for that moral or something that we're going to learn from this as we go. So put that up in your brain. That's what we're looking for. So to use and find that, we're going to do a flow map today. Flow map. Can you say the word sequence? Do you remember what sequence is? We haven't talked about this for a couple weeks, but sequence, we talk about something that starts at the beginning. What happens first? Then what happens after that? Next, this happens in the story. And then last, how does the story end? So that's the sequence of something, the order that something takes place. So to organize our thoughts today, to figure out what the moral message, what the central message is in this story, we're going to create a flow map together. So like always, Miss Thomas is going to show you how I like to start, how I like to do it, and then you're going to continue and finish it all on your own. All right, so before we start, can we say this I can statement together? Look up here. See it over my shoulder. You can pause if you need to read it first. But it says, I can retell a story and find the central message. Can you say that out loud real quick? Go ahead. Read it out loud. I can find the central message. Very good. So we're going to do our thinking map today is going to be a flow map, and we'll start what happens at the beginning. Then what happens? Then what happens? And then how does the story end last? All right, so listen up. This is a different way, again, of reading. Here is the title right here. And the title is Why the Sun and the Moon Live in the Sky. Okay, so I could write that title if I wanted to right here. Let's go ahead and write that in. Why the Sun and the Moon Live in the Sky. Why the sun and the moon live in the sky. So if you need to pause it, go ahead. I know it's a long title of a story. So if you need to pause, just pause it and write that in real quick. Go ahead. And let's underline that title. All right, and then we'll start the flow map as we go along. Listen up, please. Again, this story, Why the Sun and the Moon Live in the Sky. I would like to know, don't you? The play is based on an African folktale that tells how the moon and the sun ended up in the sky. So the characters in this story are the narrator, dun, 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 the sun, moon, sun's wife, and water. Okay, so those are our characters. So listen up, I'll read it to you and we'll see how this goes. Narrator says, long ago, sun, moon, and water lived together on Earth. Sun and moon are eating breakfast at home. Here's a picture of them. That's how the story starts. So what happens at the beginning? Sun, moon, and water lived together on Earth. That is what we learn first. Let's add that to our flow map, okay? And again, pause it if you need to write in or it takes you a little bit longer to write. That is fine with me. So long ago, sun, moon, and water lived together on Earth. Again, remember that we like to make sure that these are complete sentences as we write them into our thinking map. So we start with a capital letter at the beginning and a period at the end. Make sure we always get that in there. And a reminder for organization and keeping things nice and tidy as we do our work, write the sentence first, and then we'll come back and we make our square around it, okay? So I wrote my sentence, then I'll come back and make my rectangle or my square or my circle, whatever it is there. So this is first. If you want to, you can write it above. First. So that's the first step in our sequence of our flow map. And then go ahead and just write and draw a little arrow because whatever comes next will come after this. All right, I'm going to keep reading to you. So the sun says, I will visit my good friend Water today. Moon says, that sounds enjoyable, but why doesn't Water ever come to visit us? Do you feel ashamed or embarrassed to invite Water here? Sun says, no, I am proud of our house. I will invite Water today. So what came next? After we learned that they used to live on Earth all together long ago, what came next? What did they decide they were going to do? So Sun and Moon decided they were going to invite who over? They were going to invite Water over to their house. Okay, so let's say Sun and Moon. Moon decide to invite Water over. Don't forget that period. And same thing. Then we'll come back and we'll make our rectangle around it. Okay, so first, then we can write, because we know after that, this is what happened. Draw your arrow. We'll see what happens next. Pause it if you need to take some time to write that in. Also, if you go ahead and scroll down, you'll see pictures of the flow map, so you can fill it in if you need spelling or you need to add to yours. Sun visits Water at the beach. Sun says, Water, why don't you ever visit us? Water says, your house can't hold me and my family. Sun says, oh, that's nonsense. Moon and I will enlarge our house, so there'll be plenty of room for everyone. If you enlarge something, you make it bigger. Water says, then I'll visit you. Wonderful! Please holler loudly. So that means please shout. Please tell us loudly so I hear when you arrive. Now I must dash on home. I gotta get home and I gotta start that work. So Sun rushes home. So what does Sun decide to do? Sun decides to do what? They better enlarge or make their house bigger. So the Sun and Moon, they raced to make their home larger. Oh, this is the narrator. They added rooms and they raised the roof higher. The new house was completely different and it had no similarities to their old house. They felt it was a victory or a win, for now their friend could visit. So what did they do? What comes next? They built and made a bigger home. So they made their home bigger. So Sun and Moon, they made their home bigger. Period. And we'll add and make our rectangle or our square around our words. Here we go. So you can write either next or another then if you want. Miss Thomas is going to write next. Okay. From here, I don't have any more room over here at the end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line and I'm going to go all the way, just like a book. And I'm going to draw my arrow. So when I begin, I'm going to make a brand new section right below. So we do a flow map the same as if we're reading a book, left to right, and then drop down a line, left to right, and then you could always drop down another line if needed. All right, so be listening. I'm going to have you do the rest all on your own. So after you draw your square or after you add your next detail, you can keep adding. Okay, so listen as I finish this story. All right, so Sun says, oh, just kidding. Water says, Sun and Moon, I've arrived. Here he comes. Here he comes. So Sun says, isn't this the largest home you've ever seen? Moon says, Sun, it's not polite to brag, so please don't boast at our guest, which means don't brag, don't talk about your big house to the guest. Water, come on inside. What do you think is going to happen, you guys, when water comes into the house? So the narrator says, water splashes through the door, carrying colorful fish, frogs, and crabs. As the water began to rise, Sun and Moon had to climb up on furniture. Then they scrambled up to the top of the roof. Sun says, Moon, I'm not sure about the wisdom of inviting over water. Perhaps this wasn't a smart idea after all. Moon says, no, Sun, it was the right thing to do, but we must fly to safety. So they felt like it was very nice to invite water over, but what's happening to their house? Where are they having to go to get out of there? So the narrator then finishes the story and says, Sun and Moon flew to the sky where they remain today, and they still shine down on the water. There's the end there. So here they go. Here's water. And he splashed in and kind of took over everything. And so Moon and Sun went up into the sky, and that's where they remain today. And they always shine down and glisten on the water. Have you ever been to the beach on a sunny day and seen how bright it shines down, and it makes the water kind of sparkle, doesn't it? It just makes it shine. And same at night. If you've ever been to the beach at night, or if you've ever been by a swimming pool or even a pond and the big bright moon is up in the sky and it shines down, you can see it sparkle and you can see the reflection on the water. All right, well, good job. I want you to add at least 2 more. Okay, so what comes after the sun and the moon made their house bigger? Who comes over? Write that in right down here for me, okay? Fill in this flow map. After that, what happens? Does the water just come in and stay on the first floor of the house? Or does it slowly start to rise and go higher and higher until where do the sun and the moon have to go? Write those details in and then let me know how the story finishes, okay? Go ahead and you're going to scroll down and you're going to see a question down below. And your question is, I want you to answer this. How does this folktale or what does this folktale explain to us about nature? Okay? What does it explain to us? What is this folk tale? What's this central message of this story? Hint, hint, hint. It is why we see two things up in the sky. Okay, that is your hint. Go back and reread if you need to try to find that central message. But you have some awesome sequencing happening here in your flowchart, and you'll be able to hopefully be able to tell this folk tale to somebody else on your own if you remember what happens first, then next, and what happens at the end. All right, scroll down to see the rest of the story, and please send me a photo of your flow map in Dojo so I can take a peek at that. Keep up the hard work. Okay, let me know if you have any questions. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.